Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Washington Nationals in the second game of a day-night doubleheader. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Cadillac, by StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the New York Mets, by The Walk in theaters October, by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by the New York Lottery. Hey, you never know. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you as the Mets close out their day-night doubleheader against the Nats. Mets lost 3-1 this afternoon, their fourth straight loss. And you would think a game behind the Dodgers for home field with 2 games to play that the Mets might be playing their regulars for the second game. That's not the case. Only 2 regulars in the lineup tonight.
Well, it's a doubleheader, and you can say that a lot of guys are getting in there. Terry's getting everybody in there. The one surprise is Herrera at second base, but Flores is still still has that sore throat or strep throat, so he's out of the equation. I'm a little at loss. I think home field advantage. I've been saying it for the last week and a half. So it's a bit of a surprise to me, Gare. So we'll see how it goes. But a very, very good pitching matchup tonight.
I think in some ways the weather and the change in schedule has disrupted the intentions of Terry Collins. I think he was planning on playing his regulars a lot more, but with the day game after a night game Thursday, the day-night doubleheader today, things might have changed a little.
And also, too, I think with the rotation out of balance, now out of kilter with Mats, everything's been thrown out of balance. So we'll see. But a lot of guys are getting play tonight, and I'm sure he'll go with the regular lineup tomorrow.
Big-time pitching matchup tonight. Matt Harvey, who pitched the clincher against the Reds last Saturday, gets the start tonight.
Well, he's going for his 14th win and coming off out of spring training with Tommy John surgery. If you'd have said you got 14 wins out of Matt Harvey, it should have been 18. He's been such a hard-luck pitcher. He pitched the clincher, as Gary said. He's pitched wonderfully. He's probably going to be, this is his last tune-up also, obviously. Probably going to go 5, maybe 6 at the max, and hopefully the Mets will get a win.
Max Scherzer faced the Mets on opening day. The Mets beat him that day. They'll try and beat him again tonight.
Well, they gave Scherzer a big contract, and they weren't looking for 13 and 12 out of him. Though he has pitched well. He's given up a lot of home runs this year, 27, 17 in the second half of the season. And another big thing, in 3 starts against the Mets, he's winless. He's lost both of them.
Took a no-hitter into the 8th inning in his last start against Cincinnati. Big-time pitching matchup tonight. 2 of the best in the game go head-to-head at Citi Field in the penultimate game of the regular season. Mets and Nationals, all the action coming your way on SNY.
I just started laughing. I was like, "Where's my ring?" Because I mean, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid how good our staff is. You're gonna have to face Zimmerman, Fister, Scherzer, and Strauss. Good luck. I mean, because that's insane. I'm gonna bring back a title to DC no matter what. I'm getting chills thinking about it. You know, I'm excited to get going this year and do the things that I need to do to bring a title back to DC and hoist that trophy over the monuments.
Well, Bryce Harper's spring training sentiments did not exactly work out the way he intended. No ring for the Nats this year. Well, make Citi Field your home for the holidays by hosting your company's holiday party right here at the ballpark with superb cuisine, 5-star service, and state-of-the-art event space. For more information, call 718-507-3663 or go to metropolitanhospitality.com. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Verizon. Don't miss a moment of Mets baseball on the largest, most reliable 4G LTE network, only from Verizon. By Bob's Discount Furniture, quality, choice, and untouchable value every day. And by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. Speak with Steve Dukoff in Bayside or Joseph DeMonda in Wantagh today. Matt Harvey making his way in for his final tune-up before the postseason. It's the Mets and the Nationals. All the action coming your way. First pitch coming up. Matt Harvey taking the hill on a blustery, chilly night. His final regular season start. And here is the Nationals lineup he will face tonight. Bryce Harper is 0 for 20 in his career against Harvey. Will sit in the nightcap after he hit the go-ahead home run in the afternoon game. Trey Turner gets the start at short. Michael Teller is in. Wilson Ramos, Tyler Moore, Wilmer Defoe. None of those guys played in the afternoon game. They're all in the lineup for the night contest.
Well, there's Big Matt, and you're looking at his Jeep numbers. and they are very impressive. And like I said in the open, a 13-7 is not indicative of how well he's pitched this year. He could very easily have won 18 ball games this year. Very little run support. Pitched a terrific clincher in Cincinnati. He's pitched well pretty much all year.
Trey Turner will lead things off for the Nationals. Turner, the 22-year-old from NC State, first-round pick by the Padres last year, traded to the Nats. First pitch of the night from Harvey is a fastball in for a strike, and we're underway. It'll be Turner, Taylor, and Escobar for the Nationals in the first inning after they won the day game today 3-1, the Mets' fourth straight loss. And Turner loses the bat, which goes sailing to the far end of the Nationals dugout, and it's 0-2. Bat retrieval in progress.
You know, when you use pine tar in cold weather, Gary, it takes away from the effectiveness of the pine tar. It dries it out more in the dry, cold climate.
You know what also reduces the effectiveness of the pine tar? Those 91-mile-an-hour sliders.
Well, yes.
0-2 from Harvey. This is outside, 1-2.
Matt is I just love the way he's thrown all year. There's Michael Taylor in the on-deck circle. Matt has learned to pitch this season because of the coming off the Tommy John. Nice, easy motion, effortless. Beautiful.
Strikes out Turner with a curveball, and that's how the night begins.
Big lead curveball, by the way. This is a little. Geez, that's an 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock drop right there. That's wicked. Don't worry about it. That would have got me and a few others.
Here's Michael Taylor, who's had a lot of chances to impress this year. 14 home runs, 63 RBIs. His average just a 232, but he's played a lot with all the Nationals' injuries this year. Over 450 at bats.
Good slider. So Matt comes out with all guns blazing. Got his fastball, got his curve, got his slide ball. Just haven't seen his changeup yet, and that'll probably come with the left-hand hitter.
The last time Harvey faced the Nationals, he was at the low ebb of his season when the innings limits controversy was raging around him. His first start after the revelation of the supposed hard 180 inning cap came against the Nats in that big series in early September, and he clearly was distracted. It weighed on him heavily.
Certainly.
He had a terrible day, gave up 7 runs in 5 1/3 innings, but his team rallied from 6 runs down and won that day, and that seemed to take a lot of the pressure off. And Matt then took the bull by the horn, said, I'm going to pitch full games, I'm going to pitch in the postseason. He certainly did that against Cincinnati his last time out, and he plans to do it again tonight. 3-2 coming, and it's popped up.
Very nice. Up the ladder.
To Dyer and Plawecki battling the wind and stays with it for the second out. The wind has been a factor all day. One just like that eluded Jose Lobaton of the Nationals in the afternoon game, but Plawecki able to stay with it.
Well, don't be fooled by that last shot of the flag, just kind of blowing just a little bit. You look up on top of the stadium above the left field pavilion, and it is whipping. So there you have it.
No Bryce Harper tonight, so Yunel Escobar hits third in the order. Escobar went 0 for 3 this afternoon. And he foul tips the fastball. Escobar having a wonderful season, hitting .316, started the day third in the National League in batting. Harper again the night off. Remember, he got hit in the shin by a pitch from Noah Syndergaard, and then later hit the go-ahead 2-run homer in the 8th inning against Addison Reed. His 42nd home run, which ties him with Nolan Arenado for the National League lead.
Now he went 1 for 4, so it might have dropped his average a point, maybe to .330. I don't know what D. Gordon's up to tonight, but they came in the start of the day 2 points apart, and we'll take a quick look at your first place National League East champion Lexus Mets. Conforto in the lineup. Neuenhuis in center. Herrera at the start. Flores with the strep throat. Excuse me. And Plawecki behind the plate.
2-2 to Escobar. The Marlins are playing a doubleheader with the Phillies. Gordon is 2 for 5 in the first game.
So that probably maybe raised his point average to 330. So probably had a dead heat right now.
2-2. Off the corner with a slider. 3-2 to Escobar with Clint Robinson, who homered in the first game, on deck.
And the Dodgers play tonight.
9 o'clock. They play the Padres. They've got Zach Greinke on the mound going for his 19th win. 3-2 coming, and he strikes him out. Harder leaning on his slider in that first inning. Fans Escobar. 1-2-3 with a couple of punch outs for Harvey. That's come to bat against Scherzer with no score. Season is with the MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet now. Max Scherzer making his final start of the year in the first year of his 7-year contract with the Nats. Curtis Granderson leads off against him and takes a fastball for a strike. Granderson didn't start the opening game, appeared as a pinch hitter and grounded into a fielder's choice.
Well, Scherzer's a hard thrower. 259 strikeouts and 219 2/3.
Those 259 strikeouts do not lead the league. He's second to Clayton Kershaw. But it's also the second highest strikeout total in the history of the Montreal/Washington franchise. Strikes out Granderson for his 260th strikeout. The only player in the history of the franchise who struck out more in a season was Pedro Martinez, who struck out 305 for the Expos in 1997.
300 is kind of a platinum level, isn't it?
In fact, Scherzer is the first pitcher with back-to-back 250 strikeout seasons since Tim Lincecum in his heyday in 2008-2009. So he has certainly been dominant on that front. The flip side, though, which you alluded to earlier, has been the long ball.
27 to be exact, and 17 in the second half of the season. 3 the Mets collected against him his last time he pitched against him.
Remember, he pitched the opening game of that series in Washington and had himself a 5-3 lead. Gave it back. Wound up a no decision for him. An 8-5 Mets win that got them started on that 3-game sweep in D.C.
Well, there was talk that, he threw almost the perfect game earlier in the year. He did how many complete games does he have? 3 complete games, but he went deep, and it was talk that maybe he left it all out there in the first half of the season. I don't know. You know, things are different in today's game.
Well, when he completes 1 inning today, he will have his highest innings total of his career. He threw 220 and a third last year for the Tigers. That was his career high. He was at 219 and 2/3 entering today. 2-1 to Tejada, and Ruben swings at the slider. 2-2.
Well, you know, his ERA is below 3, 2.91. But you know, when this team was going south and struggling, he was supposed to be the closer, and that's when he went through a tough patch where he was getting hit hard.
Yep. 17 home runs and 13 starts since the All-Star break. And Tejada overmatched with that fastball, and Scherzer has back-to-back strikeouts to start his night. Here's the rest of the Geico Mets starting lineup after Granderson and Tejada. Michael Conforto bats third. Granderson and Conforto, the only regulars in the lineup tonight.
And there's your Toyota numbers for Scherzer, and they are impressive, except the record. A little baffling. I'm sure there's a lot of hard luck in there, too.
Well, Mets have seen plenty of that going back to opening day when Reed Desmond messed up a couple of plays in the field, and that cost Scherzer a chance to win. Conforto at 274.
And was it his last outing? They took another no-hitter, Garrett, deep into the ballgame?
Against the Reds, he went 7 1/3 before Tucker Barnhart broke it up with a base hit. I mentioned the near-perfect game against the Pirates. 2 out in the 9th. He hit Starling Marte and then finished with the no-hitter. And he argued that Marte did not make an effort to get out of the way, and it should have been negated, but that was not the case.
Nice crowd for the second game here. Beautiful crowd.
Scherzer behind 3-0, and Conforto takes a strike.
Oh,
Keith grew his mustache, and the Mets won. Was there a connection?
I have no idea. I was going to shave it off. Now I'm worried. Better not.
Broken back grounder. Defoe in front of it. Throws out Conforto, and Scherzer, matching Harvey, has a 1-2-3 inning with 2 strikeouts. No score after 1. Tonight's T-Mobile Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag SNY Data Strong Fan, and you could see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Clint Robinson leads off in the second. Robinson had a big hand in the Nats' first game victory. He hit one as far up in the Pepsi porch as I think we've seen since this ballpark opened in 2009. went about, what, 6 rows from the top of the Pepsi porch?
Both home runs hit by left-handers in the opener, and both off of hanging sliders, Gary.
First one off Syndergaard by Robinson, the clinching one off Addison Reed by Bryce Harper.
And he hit it on that way, 3/4 of the way up in that section right there.
It was a bomb.
And he threw a wonderful game.
Check swing foul on the curveball. Well, Robinson's done a nice job filling in for Ryan Zimmerman. He's had over 300 at bats now this season. Home run in the first game was his 10th. Net killer Wilson Ramos on deck. Robinson goes down on the fastball. 4 batters, 3 strikeouts for Matt Harvey.
Upstairs in, and it's called. Look at him try to come in with his hands. Broke his whole swing down. Keep your hands within the ball. I don't buy that. If you get jammed, you get jammed. But excellent location.
Now Ramos, who did not start the opener. Why they would ever sit Ramos against the Mets, given his proclivity for beating up on the Mets.
And both pitchers coming out. The heavy artillery.
Somehow he's only hitting .209 against the Mets this year, but lifetime .312 with 10 home runs in just 179 at bats. Oh, we're having a guest today?
Yes.
Your buddy Jerry's coming along.
Well, I did just close on my condo in Florida. Maybe you can help me move my stuff in.
He referred to you earlier today as 1992's Actor of the Year.
What do you mean? Oh, I did it in '92. I was Actor of the Year.
Actor of the Year.
Why did he say that?
I don't know. That's how he referred to you.
We'll have to ask.
That he'd be joining Keith Hernandez, 1992's Actor of the Year.
I was really so nervous doing that. I had never had any acting experience at that point. I got thrown into the fire, boy. Everybody treated me nice.
You did admirably.
I remember my line. Remember.
Ramos goes down on the high fastball. That's 4 strikeouts in the first 5 batters for Matt.
Well, both pitchers are coming out determined. Don't think Scherzer doesn't want to beat the Mets here. They know what the Mets are fighting for. And it's been a dismal season. And Scherzer knows that he's 0-2 against this team. And nothing would be better than for him to throw a little wrench into a home field advantage. So both pitchers are gunning for each other.
There's the former Met, Matt Dendecker. And takes a changeup for a strike. Dendecker had an impressive first game and a long double against Syndergaard, and he also made a tremendous defensive play to rob Daniel Murphy of an extra base hit and save at least 1 and maybe 2 runs. Curveball, he checks the swing and holds it in time.
Umpires are dressed accordingly. It is got to be very frigid out there on the field.
I am extremely impressed by the size of the crowd tonight.
Yes.
I know they sold a lot of tickets, and I thought that maybe a lot of people would stay home because of the frigid conditions, but this place is just about full.
Yeah, I love it.
A portent of what is to come later in October and perhaps into November. 2-2 coming. Check swing, and he held that in time. 3-2.
Matt's got good stuff tonight. It's only of all the breaking balls that he's thrown so far, maybe slightly under 10. Only 1 hanger out of the strike zone. Everything's been sharp.
Struck him out, and back with a slider to fan Dendecker. Matt Harvey strikes out the side in the 2nd inning. Spectacular start for Harvey. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Michael Kadire leads off the home second against Max Scherzer and hits one in the air to left field. Right there is Tyler Moore. One pitch and one out for Scherzer in the second. Kadire, one of just a couple of Mets, playing both ends of the doubleheader. Ruben Tejada the other one. Now Kelly Johnson. Now remember, Kelly in Cincinnati last weekend got a chance to play shortstop for the first time as a Met. In fact, the first time in the big leagues. This game playing third base for the first time as a Met. Played 6 games earlier this year at that position for the Braves before he was traded. A chance to show off a little bit of his versatility heading into the postseason, especially with the uncertainty about the availability of Juan Uribe. Grounded behind the bag, and Robinson handles it for the second out.
And we'll get a quick look at your Nationals Coors Light defense. Michael Taylor in center field didn't play the first game. Dendecker started in right field, and we'll get another start. Defoe in at second base. Turner, Ramos. So there you have the Nationals. And we're down to 2 games left in the season, folks. And home field advantage still hanging in the air.
There's Kirk Neuenhuis playing center field. I mentioned a moment ago about Kelly Johnson having to show more versatility with the possibility Uribe might not make it to the postseason roster. Because if Uribe doesn't make the roster, probably Kirk Neuenhuis gets that spot.
Right.
So the Mets would have an extra outfielder and would lose the extra infield.
And that's why Neuenhuis is getting a start.
Well, it's a different looking bench with Neuenhuis rather than Uribe.
Well, Uribe is a veteran off the bench. I mean, Neuenhuis gives you good defense, another left-hander. But boy, I don't like the fact that the Mets are going to be without Juan in any round of the playoffs.
And that's not certain yet, but Uribe is not feeling well enough to swing a bat yet, so the odds are not great that he's going to be able to make it by Friday. Neuenhuis down on strikes. 3 strikeouts through the first 2 innings for Scherzer. He, like Harvey, perfect through 2. No score. Second half of the day-night doubleheader.
Well, on a night like this, it's cold. I can accept that. You need to get a little lining in there and keep yourself warm.
Right over there. Should be on that top. I'm sorry. Oh, God.
On a cool, windy night, two power pitchers looking like they're on top of their game. Harvey and Scherzer. Harvey has struck out 5 of the first 6 batters. They'll take on Tyler Moore leading off in the 3rd. Moore's had 183 at bats for the Nats this year, hitting .208 with 6 home runs. Moore's issue has been the same for 3 years now. When Davey Johnson was the manager with the Nats, he started Moore a lot and he was productive. But he's been used mostly as a pinch hitter, and he's not been successful as a pinch hitter.
Tough job. Davey loved him and gave him the opportunity. It's just...
Harvey takes care of him quickly. That is 5 strikeouts in a row and 6 of the first 7 for Harvey.
Matt is wicked tonight. Curveball for strike 3. Slider for strike 3. Fastball up and in. Fastball upstairs. Slider down and in. And the last one, a little slide ball right off the table.
Got it all working early.
He's determined.
Wilmer Defoe, the number 8 hitter, tries to drag a bunt, but it'll go foul. Defoe, the 23-year-old rookie from the Dominican, using his speed. That's his greatest asset. He's had just 10 big league at bats.
You are right, Gary. We got a terrific crowd here tonight.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I mean,
I'm excited about this.
Because this afternoon the place was about half full, which was nice for a rescheduled game. This is awesome on a cold, windy night. Defoe pulls one, and a nice play by Kadire. He hits Harvey with the underhand feed just in time to get Defoe for the 2nd out.
Oh, that was a close shave right there.
Defoe's not convinced. He's hanging around thinking the Nats might challenge the call.
Nice play by Kadire. Could he have taken this by himself?
And the Nats are challenging the call at first.
Oh, he got ahead of him.
Yep, he's safe.
safe.
So this is likely to be overturned and likely to be the first base runner for the Nationals.
So did Matt get off the mound a little late? That's my... Well, he got there, but he just...
That guy half-stepping.
Yeah, he didn't really bust it over there, and that cost him.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. This shouldn't take too long. Defoe clearly got his hand to the bag before Harvey's foot arrived.
Jerry Davis on the phone there. He's one of the lone umpires that are still around. You can see right here that he clearly beat it.
You know, normally you hate the dive into first base, but in this case, Defoe was probably trying to avoid a collision by doing so with a much bigger man racing for the bag.
I'm surprised it's taking so long.
This would appear to be clear cut.
As I'm saying, Jerry Davis on the phone is one of the few remaining umpires that were around when I played. And of course, when they came into the major leagues, I was the veteran and they were the youngsters.
The call has been overturned. So after Harvey retired the first 7, 6 of them by a strikeout, Defoe gets credit for an infield hit.
Well, Matt, you can see him shake his head there. He knows that he should have been over there quicker. He's not happy with himself, and now we got a bunt situation.
Scherzer, a good hitter. He's got 14 hits this year, 6 sacrifices.
He's got the dual eye color there, doesn't he? The blue on the left and the dark brown on the right.
Heterochromatic. Bunts it straight back to Harvey. Has a play at second. Out there, but no relay by Tejada as Scherzer busted it to first base. Well, give credit to Scherzer there, because if he doesn't run hard, Mets would have easily had a double play.
Oh, terrible bunt. Should be 2. Tejada couldn't get the handle either. Let's see. He's busting. He knows. I think returning to Tejada couldn't get the handle. And again, Mets having trouble turning 2.
So Scherzer at first with 2 out. Now Trey Turner, who struck out to open the game. And he takes a fastball strike.
Matt is so refined with his stuff. Just, I love his motion. He's putting no stress on the arm. Everything working together, and he just like puts it where he wants, like on a chessboard.
Little looper into right, that'll fall for a hit. Scherzer pulls in at second. So Trey Turner with an opposite field hit, and there are 2 men on for Michael Taylor.
So the failed bunt helps the Mets. Throws a fastball down the pipe.
Taylor fouled out to Plawecki his first time up. And he grounds one right at Tejada. And that does it for the Nationals in the top of the 3rd. 2 hits and 2 left. And 2 guys with a little different delivery.
Watch the similarities when they come down, or when their arms come down right there. Now watch the dissimilarity. Look how Harvey comes up so quick, and Scherzer is more still in almost a right angle of the elbow bend. And that's primarily because Harvey's over the top and Scherzer's more almost sidearm. Very interesting right there. Our cameraman did a great job catching that.
Yeah, it would be impossible for Scherzer to get that bent elbow and then get all the way up on top and come over the top.
Interesting that Scherzer is pitching without sleeves. Always like pitchers that do that. He's always a pacer behind the mound. Look at him pacing behind the mound. It's almost on second base.
Does the 10-kilometer walk over the course of the game. Scherzer's retired the first 6, striking out 3. Kevin Plawecki batting 7th in the order. Travis d'Arnaud caught the opener, went 1 for 4. And Plawecki takes a fastball high.
So Scherzer gets in trouble with that almost in between 3/4 and sidearm delivery. He gets in trouble when he drops down to sidearm. He has to. When he gets sidearm, he loses velocity. Everything flattens out.
That's when the ball leaves the ballpark.
And it stays on the same plane.
Do you have any questions ready for Jerry?
Oh, I want to know if he's got any new material. I haven't heard from him lately. Is he staling out on us or what? Is he getting stale? Maybe he can work some of his new material on the show. Is he going to do play-by-play?
I don't know. I mean, this was not one of those, events long in the planning. I think it was just great to have Jerry on as a great Mets fan in this tremendous Mets season.
It was Jerry's request, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. We should do it every year with him. Come on. He's a Met fan.
2-2 coming.
Ooh.
And that's just off the plate. Plawecki thought he was out. And he's still there.
Oh, my goodness. That was Tony Randazzo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's plenty.
Meanwhile, Wilmer Defoe has come out of the game after that dive into first base. And Dan Uggla is now playing second base for the Nats. 3-2 to Plawecki. And that's outside. Oh, corner.
Well,
so that makes up for the last one. Strike 3 call.
Give it back. Sorry. And this one was questionable. It wasn't a strike. That was I'm sorry, let me get it back to you.
So I would imagine, without having any information, that Defoe might have hurt his hand on that headfirst dive into first base. So Uggla has replaced him. Now Dilson Herrera playing second base and batting eighth.
You can always risk jamming your fingers or breaking your fingers, or you can sprain your wrist.
Very rarely is it a good play to dive into first. Collision avoidance is really the only reason to do it. Oh, Herrera overmatched by Scherzer, who has 5 strikeouts through his first 8 batters.
Watch the storms around the mound. Look at this. Storming around, not storming, pacing.
Stalking.
Yes, that's a better term, Garrett. Very good.
He's got a lot of nervous energy.
I like that.
Now Harvey, 7 hits this year, but he's 0 for his last 23. Scherzer with 5 strikeouts tonight, up to 264 for the year. He has 10 double-digit strikeout games this year. And 2 pitchers have more, Kershaw and Chris Sale. Sale, by the way, last night set the all-time White Sox single-season strikeout record. He broke the mark that had been held for 107 years by Ed Walsh,
wow,
Hall of Famer.
107 years, so you're going back to before World War I.
I believe Sale got to 274. I believe Walsh, when he set the record, had over 400 innings pitched back in 1908. So Sale did it in fewer, but you probably knew that. Poked off the end of the bat down to Robinson. 3 perfect innings for Max Scherzer with 5 strikeouts. No score after 3. have been dominating the day so far, but we've got Jerry Seinfeld, so we're ahead of the game.
Yeah, this is looking like a tight pitcher's duel to me tonight. These two guys who do not want to lose. Can you feel that?
I do.
You could. Scherzer's got a little bounce, and Matt is just. He's got a little different look on his face.
Jerry, I know you are the world's greatest Mets fan. This season has got to be just nirvana for you.
It is nirvana for me. Now, it's, obviously if it ends here, it'd be a little bit of a disappointment, but the team itself has been just fantastic. As a bouncing ball goes to short, that's an easy out. Who's out of position tonight?
Kelly Johnson. Yeah.
Yes.
Kelly Johnson. What's he doing over there? Well, we're just trying to get through this, aren't we?
Uribe's hurt.
Right.
And that's not a good injury for us, or for Mets, that.
Right.
I
didn't see that injury. What happened?
Actually, he did it swinging the bat, right? He did something in his chest.
Well, the first time was against the Yankees. He dove for a ball and bounced off his chest.
Right.
And then he re-injured on a check swing. So.
Who's up now?
This is Clint Robinson. You see that when he hit halfway up the Pepsi porch this afternoon.
Yep, I saw that.
You were here?
No, I was home.
Okay.
Can only take one of these.
He was listening to you.
No, that I feel the same way. I can only take one of these.
Well, in this weather, but this is October baseball. This is what we dream of. How do you feel, Gary?
I feel as though this has been a fantastic year to watch, and a little bereft that, Keith and I are going to be consigned to pre and post game shows.
Yeah, that's kind of a shame, isn't it?
But that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's always the way it is, right?
I want to ask you, because this has been such an interesting season. As a fan, what's been the defining moment for you? What was your favorite moment, the moment you'll remember out of this season?
I think Wilmer Flores that night, and you were so upset, as I recall that night. You were so unhappy at how that was being handled, and you were vocal about it.
Well, the thing about it was that Terry Collins never knew.
No.
He didn't know that anything was going on.
It was a fascinating moment of social media, but here's what made it the most powerful moment. We know players get traded. We know things happen. We never see the player's face when he hears he's been traded. No one's ever seen that.
That's a good point.
So we saw it that night for the first time, and what we saw is, these guys actually do care about being on a team after they've put a certain amount of time in, and he's been in the system all his career, that it meant something to him. So I think for the fans to see that was very emotional, and it really bonded us to him to the fans, and I think the team kind of gelled around that. And then, of course, Cespedes, Harvey finishes with a nice strikeout there.
7 strikeouts for Harvey through 4 innings as the pitcher's duel continues, and so will Jared.
You saw this, Jerry, but there's a division flag hanging, and there was no ceremony to put it up. It just appeared this afternoon.
Why is it at half-mast?
Because of the Oregon shooting.
Ah.
Yeah. Curtis Granderson leads off in the bottom of the fourth. So you've been a Met fan for a long time.
Long time, probably 66, 67.
So you go back to all the championship years the Mets have had and all the great moments. Where right? I mean, obviously this one hasn't finished yet, but where does this season fit in for you in the pantheon of great Mets seasons?
It's right up there. It's right up there because of it's been an exciting year. There's been some moments that are very, very memorable. It's not just winning. It's kind of the way they won certain games. The weekend in Washington, the Torres Murphy play and Flores and Cespedes coming and being so amazing, and a guy like that to me, not just as a ball player, but I'll wrap this up in a second, Keith. Right, a huge hippo young. Oh, that was our hit
for the Mets so far against Scherzer. But Uggla grabs it for the first down.
Look at these images.
Aren't they great?
Yeah, Lindsay getting down. It's the biggest smile I've ever seen Keith have.
They're great moments, I tell
you. 86.
I like when the champagne burns the eyes. I don't like the goggles.
Agreed.
Yeah, goggles is cheating. The burning in the
that's part of
is
it.
Part of it. Yeah,
it's like the hitters who wear the elbow pads.
Yeah.
Ruben Tejada, the batter.
Let's get something going here.
So
what was the most special moment for you, Gary, this year? Just as a moment.
I think that entire week that you were talking about, the Flores tears, and then
the homer.
2 nights later, the home run,
the walk off,
and then and of course the series in Washington where they came from behind in all the games. Where Harvey had the bad game and they bailed him out.
Yep.
Neuenhuis hit the home run. There were some amazing moments. There really have been. Now, before we go any further, Jerry, you've got to introduce your guest here.
Oh, my son is here, Shepard Seinfeld. Shepard is started out as a Mets fan a few years ago, and now he's our #1 Mets fan in our family. He knows all the stats, all the players, the whole league. He's become a super fan.
And he's a big stat guy, but he's got a stat pack, too.
He's not much of a broadcaster, but he's a great fan.
I don't know. If we put a mic on him, you never know.
And I got my Mets sneakers on tonight. I've made these on Nike ID.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fans are true to the orange and blue.
Yeah.
Michael Conforto up with 2 out. You like Conforto?
Love this guy.
Yeah, really. So do I.
Flies one out to left, and Tyler Moore is there. Can you hang out for another half inning?
Sure, why not? Gotta say something funny.
Maybe you can get a hit or something. Two pitchers at the top of their games.
Yeah, it is a fantastic crowd here. This right here is pretty great. It's October, we're cold, and Citi Field is packed. That is something. That's something new.
Well, if you're lucky, you'll see a lot more nights, cold nights, where
If
the
you're
Mets are
lucky,
playing.
or
here.
if you're good.
If they're good.
Yes. Lucky or good. We'll take either one.
Matt Dendecker leads off against Matt Harvey in the 5th. So what are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm doing Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I love doing that. I'm doing a lot of stand-up. I love doing that. And I got these 3 kids. And it's a pretty good life. And I watch the Mets. And people always say, have you seen this show? Have you seen that show? No, I don't have time to see these shows. I miss all the shows. Somehow I find 4 hours a night to watch baseball. But I haven't seen one drama.
This gives you a little bit of drama.
A lot of drama.
Little comedy.
Oh, the whole family's into it. It's fantastic. My wife Jessica watches, and Sasha and Julian watches. Wives will enjoy when the team is good. They can't watch when the team is struggling. Unless they're real fans.
So you're saying they're front runners?
Yes. They are. Come and get me.
So
my wife gets upset when the team. She doesn't understand. I find that some people that are casual fans don't understand. There's a lot of losing in baseball.
Yes.
That's still part of a good season. There's a lot of losing. There's a lot of bad nights.
Dendecker called out on strikes. That's 8 strikeouts now for Harvey. Now, I saw you tweeted out earlier today some reference to Keith Hernandez, Actor of the Year 1992.
Comeback comedy actor. It was a big comeback for him in 92.
That's true.
In comedy. A lot of people thought he was out of comedy in 92. And he came back.
I thank you for the opportunity.
Now that's 23 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
Is he ready for another project?
No, he's not ready.
No.
Have you seen him in the Just for Men ads?
Oh, you've seen the Just for Men ad? It's back, Walton. I know.
Yeah.
He's very funny.
Do they mind that you're not using the stuff now? Because clearly you're not using it.
That's a point. And they haven't called me yet, but they do watch.
Well, I would think I don't know how big the deal is. Judging from the way you're handling it, it's not that big a deal. But I used to like their old slogan, "Look so natural, no one can tell." Everyone can tell.
Yes.
Okay. You got a Sharpie in your head. We can tell. You're 70. You got jet black hair. Another strikeout. Harvey juicing it up to 95 miles per hour there.
Tyler Moore chasing out of the strike zone. That's 9 now for Matt.
I think Matt's last tune-up here is dialing it up.
Can you break down the where we're at home field wise with the Dodgers?
Game behind with 2 left to play.
Dodgers play tonight. If they
10
lose,
o'clock start.
If they lose and we win, we go into tomorrow tied.
Who do they have going tonight?
They've got
Greinke.
Greinke.
Oh, that's bad.
But if we finish in a tie, because we took the season series from the Dodgers, we win the tiebreak.
Okay, I see. Okay,
So that's where it stands.
that's not too bad. If we
They
had
got to win,
yeah, winning helps everything.
and they're playing those hard-charging Padres.
Right. Right.
Dan Ugla for the first time.
Dan Ugla. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, he sort of fell off a cliff, didn't he?
Well, best to Dan's family. Maybe watching. So Harvey looks quite sharp tonight, wouldn't you say? What do you think,
Harvey?
Keith? Harvey looking very sharp tonight. In fact, his last few outings look very sharp.
Looking crisp.
Yeah. That was a little wide.
You know what I like about him, Jerry, is that his motion is effortless. When he first came up, he had all that effort into every pitch, and now he just seems to be nice and smooth, no extra stress on the arm. That's what I love.
3-2. And he hits Ugla with a 3-2 curveball.
That's weird.
Well, it happens. Cold night, you don't want to get hit anywhere where it hurts. Let me see where he got hit. Oh, well, that's not so bad.
That's not so bad. I cannot comprehend how that ball could hit Cespedes' pinky and not break it. A pinky on a wood bat and a baseball, which is very hard, at whatever miles an hour.
He's very lucky, as are the Mets.
Yeah.
Well, you remember when David Cohn bunted in Candlestick Park?
Yep.
And he broke his finger.
Scherzer lines a base hit. Ugla will go first to third. That's Scherzer's 15th hit of the year.
He can hit.
Maybe this base running will throw off his rhythm a little.
He is determined.
He's
here.
in the groove tonight. Yeah. No, this is a ball game.
Well, he's 0-2 against the Mets this year. You know, he's
Good
third.
looking swing.
Yeah, it is.
The guy spent his career in the American League.
I was a little bit worried about this series, Jerry, because this is a team that was supposed to win the National League flag, and they can come in here and do damage to the Mets as far as home field advantage.
Damage in quotes. In quotes. It's one game difference, home field advantage, right?
Yeah,
it's
but
one more away game.
I would prefer to have a fifth game if necessary at home. In front of the friendlies.
Right. Well, this is a little bit of a spot here for Matt. We could certainly use a strikeout here.
What was your feeling, Jerry, on the altercation between Papelbon and Harper?
I liked what it was about. I mean, although it was a very interesting kind of collision of old school and new school. I mean, I'm sure in your day, you know, one of your guys gets hit. Well, we got to hit one of their guys, and there's nobody complains about that.
Right.
So yeah. I think that's really where the whole thing started.
Yes.
And I guess those guys don't get along. One of the things I love about baseball, let's see what happens here.
2-2 to Turner.
Oh, just missed. One of the things I love about baseball is how tiny bits of manner and etiquette can have a big reaction. So just the way a guy runs to first, or an offhanded comment about I might get hit.
Turner strikes out. 10 strikeouts in 5 innings for Matt Harvey.
Gary, great to see you.
Gary, thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure. Thanks, Keith. Good to see you.
Enjoy the postseason. I know you're going to have a great time.
We'll be here every game.
Always good to see you.
And Shepard, too.
See ya. Take your stats back.
Two guys. Scherzer perfect through 4. Harvey 10 strikeouts through 5. This has been fun to watch.
And both pitchers have been determined. Harvey, this is his tune-up. Last start for the playoffs. Game 3, it seems to be his number. And Scherzer for redemption.
Trying to finish his season on a high note. Mets have scored just 1 run in their last 30 innings, and Scherzer not making it easy. Michael Kadire leads off the home 5th and takes a strike. Dyer flied to left his first time up. Mets have hit 1 ball hard against Scherzer tonight. That was Granderson lining out in the 4th. On a slow ground ball. Uggla is there. Dyer retired. 13 up and 13 down for Scherzer. Now Max Scherzer, 34 walks. Now 265 strikeouts. An incredible 7.6 strikeout to walk ratio, leading the major leagues. It's presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Here's Kelly Johnson, who grounded out to first base his first time. Breaking ball in for a strike. Blows that fastball by Johnson, 0-2.
And it's not like he's throwing 98, Gary. You know, he's throwing 95. And guys are not getting the barrel out.
And he takes care of Johnson, strikes him out on 3 pitches.
That's quick. And look at him storming around the mound. Well, storming's not a bad description either, Gary. You know, I talk about guys that were intense on the mound. Goose Gossage, when he came over the latter part of his career with the Padres, was that way. Nolan Ryan was always like John Wayne on the mound.
But even some guys who are not necessarily as bulldog intense do walk around a lot. I remember Greg Maddux walked around a lot. I was just noticing it because he wore the same number as Scherzer, that remembering Maddux walking out towards second base sometimes in the middle of innings.
I don't recall Maddux, but I've never seen anybody stalk around the mound as much as Scherzer. And it's not you know, showing anybody up. It's just his intenseness, competitiveness. He's got to feel that he's had a disappointing year. And what perfect. I was afraid of this start.
1-2 to New and Ice, and he strikes him out with a fastball. 5 perfect innings for Max Scherzer, and here he goes again. He's got 8 strikeouts. Harvey has 10. A pitcher's duel to the nth degree. No score after 5. senses of the word. Sixth inning, Michael Taylor leads off, takes a curveball for a strike from Matt Harvey, who's already struck out 10 tonight, one shy of his season high. 10th time in his career he's struck out 10 or more. Taylor has not struck out tonight, fouled out and grounded into a fielder's choice.
That wind is whipping, picking up.
And you got the perfect storm, right, for a great pitcher's duel. Two fabulous pitchers, a cold night, a wind, and two less than full lineups. And they have taken full advantage of all those conditions.
Don't you love to be sitting next to that guy whistling?
Taylor chasing. 2-2. Miguel Escobar on deck, and then Clint Robinson for the Nats in the sixth. Harvey at 75 pitches, figures to throw 90 to 100 tonight. New York City probables for the final day of the regular season. Jacob deGrom for the Mets, Tanner Roark for the Nats. That'll be a short start for deGrom, scheduled to start 5 days later in game 1 against the Dodgers. Grounded down to third. Kelly Johnson backing off. And when you back off, you let the ball play you, and it didn't work out for Kelly. His first game at third base as a Met, and he commits an error.
Well, two mistakes by Kelly. Now, it's a hot corner. He tries to come in. Okay, I'm going to take the longer hop. You got to stay. The big mistake is laying it right here. You got to get the body in front. It takes the ball up. You get in front of it, hit your chest or your tummy. Keep the ball in front, you make the play.
So Taylor, who can steal a base, is aboard with nobody out. Escobar the batter. He's struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. Well, needless to say, the way Scherzer is going, Harvey can't afford to give up anything tonight.
Well, I think both pitchers realize that.
The difference is Harvey may go one more inning. Scherzer will go as far as he wants tonight.
Well, your kids growing up, it was those great matchups, Gary. For you, it would be Seaver. For me, it was Marichal.
Well, that Marichal Spahn game where they both went, was it 16 innings?
I was a young boy there, but I saw one Marichal hookup with Jim Bunning. You know, there's so many great pitchers, and you always had 9 times out of 10 it was a pitcher's duel. Those were my favorite games.
And often in games like that, it's the defensive mistake that tells. And we talked about this in the opening game of the doubleheader today, about the upcoming postseason and the Mets infield defense, and how when you have great pitching, you're concerned that infield defense could play a role in the end.
Well, it burned the Mets in the first game with the Taylor-made double play that wasn't turned, and the home run that followed. The inning should have been over. So those are mistakes you don't want to make, and particularly in the playoffs.
Escobar flies one to center. Nieuwenhuis is there. 1 out. Sunday, and an all-new Mets insider, from the rise of unproven prospects to the week of July that changed the season. Get an inside look at the 2015 Mets journey to the postseason on Mets Insider, presented by W.B. Mason, Sunday at 6:30, only on SNY.
You know, it brings to mind, Gary, what I remember Red Shandies told me when he came back as a coach under Ken Boyer and Whitey Herzog. It made perfect sense, man. I never thought of it in those terms. Was that when you get into the World Series, they're really the 2 best teams. You got the creme de la creme in both leagues. And when you get in the playoffs, you're playing against the best teams, and particularly in today's game, there's so much dreck out there. I like this time of year when you get into the playoffs. These are the best teams. It's much more fun to watch. Quality baseball, and we're seeing it tonight.
Robinson takes outside him for a rare time tonight. Harvey finds himself behind in the count, 2-0. Matt has not walked a batter. He's hit 1, struck out 10 tonight. Even with the 10 strikeouts, his pitch count very reasonable with 1 out in the 6th. Taylor at first and 1 out. And Robinson fouls off the changeup, 2-1.
That's where you have to pitch Robinson. You don't want to pitch him here. That's what happened in game 1. Little hanger. He's a low ball hitter, typical left-hand hitter. Belting down is his happy area.
That ball went a long way.
One of the longest ones I've seen hit here in right field.
Taylor runs, and Robinson fouls off a fastball.
Hit and run count. 2-1. I don't know if the hit and run was on. Robinson is a guy that strikes out, more of a power hitter. I don't think that Matt Williams would want to hit and run with Robinson.
Harvey has been vulnerable at times to the stolen base this year. Taylor has 16 steals this year. 2-2 coming. Robinson got jammed but fouled it off. Well, the big game in the American League tonight is in a National League Park, of all things. Houston at Arizona. After the Astros put up 21 runs last night, they scored a run in the first inning tonight. They've got Colin McHugh on the mound. The Angels won an incredible game from Texas today. So a Houston loss would drop them into a wild card tie with the Angels. 2-2. Taylor runs again. Robinson lines one into right center for a base hit. Taylor will go first to third. He'll be held up there as Neuenhuis gets it in. And the Nats have first and third and 1 out.
Pretty good at bat by Clint Robinson right there. Upstairs fastball, not. Oh, they wanted it away. Too much in the middle. Good hitting. And I tell you what, Taylor had a chance to maybe score on this. He's so quick to third base. What was that World Series, the hit and run with the Cardinals? That the guy scored on the hit and run with a runner on first?
Enos Slaughter scored from first base. It was
Dixie Walker that hit it, or Harry Walker? I forget.
Well, the old story was that Johnny Pesky was the relay man, and he held the ball because he didn't realize that Slaughter was trying to score. Game 7 of the 1946 World Series.
That's one of the famous plays in World Series history.
So first and third, 1 out. Wilson Ramos the batter. Big spot for Harvey in a scoreless game. And Ramos drills one foul. Nice effort by the ball boy.
Well, ground ball here. Ramos does not run well. Harvey in need of either a strikeout or a double play.
Harvey has struck him out twice tonight. Taylor with excellent speed at third. Robinson with no speed at first. And Ramos a very slow runner at the plate. Ball and a strike. There are his career numbers against the Mets. Down this year, but always dangerous. Matt Dendecker on deck. Little flare, shallow center. On comes Neuenhuis, tagging is Taylor. Here he comes. The throw by Neuenhuis not nearly in time, and the Nats have the lead. So a bad play on the infield by the Mets cost them as it did in game 1. The sacrifice fly brings in the first run of the game.
And not a tough throw for Neuenhuis, off balance, going to his left. It was a right-hander, a left-hander, much easier play. But with Taylor's speed, I don't think you can have a cannon out there. You're not going to throw Taylor out.
So Kelly Johnson's error leads to the first run of the game. Now Matt Dendecker, who's been up twice and struck out both times. This is part of that balance we've been talking about for days between trying to go for the home field and trying to try some things out. Kelly Johnson playing his first game as a Met at third base, probably in part because of the uncertainty about Uribe's availability.
And you know, you could have played Herrera in the first game and played Murphy in the second game. Herrera, obviously a very slick fielder, makes that double play. And, it's the luck of the draw.
Right.
Oh.
Strike 3 call got him looking at the curveball. Dendecker is fanned for the third time. Harvey has his 11th strikeout, but the Nats put up an unearned run in the top of the 6th. 1-0 Washington. Insider info, expert analysis, and in-depth breakdowns of the Mets-Dodgers showdown on Mets Playoffs Live. Coverage begins Monday at 6, only on SNY. Pulled down to third base, backhanded by Escobar. Low throw, can't be handled by Robinson, and the Mets have their first base runner of the night.
Nope.
It'll be an error charge to Escobar, allowing Plawecki to reach after Scherzer had retired the first 15.
Well, 2 errors tonight in this game, both by the third baseman, and there goes your any potential for a perfect game. In between hop, well, that's not done.
Never got the glove on.
Yeah, these long hops are kind of easy. He was kind of a little awkward after that, Clint.
Well, you got the pitcher's spot due up next, and it looks like Harvey is done. Daniel Murphy is out on deck to pinch hit. So let's see if the Mets bunt with Herrera. No bunt. And fouls one back. Herrera struck out his first time up. Murph on deck, so Harvey looks like he's done after 6 innings, no earned runs, a season high tying 11 strikeouts, and Hansel Robles up in the bullpen. Popped up. Ugla out. Dendecker in. Ugla stays with it. 1 out. So Harvey, who pitched the clincher last Saturday and pitched wonderfully again tonight. An unearned run, the only mark against his ledger. 91 pitches, perfect tune-up for what we expect will be a Game 3 start a week from Monday against the Dodgers.
Well, pretty impressive tune-up.
No walks, 11 strikeouts. Here's Murph. Started the first game, went 1 for 4. juggled a potential double play ball that wound up leading to the go-ahead runs in the game. Well, if you're keeping score, and why wouldn't you be? On the Matt Harvey innings meter, he finishes the regular season with 189 1/3 innings, which is 9 1/3 more than the at one time hard cap that was proposed. So he's at 189 1/3 with more to come in the postseason. Murphy fouls one off. 1-2. Curtis Granderson on deck. Long set, and Murphy stays in and then fouls it back.
Pitch to hit right there for Daniel. Good rip.
When a pitcher holds the ball as long as Scherzer did, can that get you flat-footed at the plate?
Not flat-footed. It can get you tight, Gary. You know, you got to make sure you. I would have tried to call timeout. And if you don't, then you got to make sure because you're standing there, that you don't grip the bat and choke the bat. Stay loose.
Plawecki at first and 1 out. And Murphy grounds one to the right side. Ugla stumbles and gets the force. Good recovery by Ugla for the second out.
Well, nice play by Ugla, who is not known for his glove. And makes a nice play and gets the lead runner.
Let's check with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by Honda. One of the most incredible pennant race games in recent years. The Angels came from 4 runs down in the 9th to win and keep their postseason hopes alive. After they rallied in the 9th inning to beat Texas the night before. So Houston needs to win to stay a game in front of the Angels for that second wild card in the American League. Granderson 0 for 2. He struck out and lined out. Scherzer gets the curveball in for a strike. 1-1. Scherzer had not allowed a base runner until Plawecki reached on an error to start this inning. Still has not allowed a hit. He's already thrown a no-hitter this year. To Granderson. And Curtis goes down on the high fastball. 97 from Scherzer, as hard as he's thrown all night. That's his 9th strikeout, and Scherzer has a no-hit bid intact through 6. So Harvey's work is done. Scherzer just getting started. 1-0 Nats. Tune to SNY for behind-the-scenes access, player reactions, and a complete game breakdown with exclusive interviews and a spot of tea on Todd Bowles' post-game comments. Jets post-game live presented by Toyota Sunday after the Jets-Dolphins game, only on SNY. Driver on the Majors presented by Cadillac. The Astros, a game and a half back in the AL West, a half game up in the AL wild card, and they lead Arizona 1-0. The Pirates can clinch home field with a win or a Cubs loss, but the Pirates trail and the Cubs lead, so that might not happen tonight. And Zach Greinke goes for his 19th win as the Dodgers, who lead the Mets by a game for home field, take on the Padres. And you see the American League wild card. Yankees lost the first of their doubleheaders, so they did not clinch home field, at least not yet. They're tied 3-3 in the nightcap against the Orioles. Here's Tyler Moore against Hansel Robles, pitching for the first time since his suspension was announced. He threw high and tight to Cameron Rupp Wednesday night, earned a 3-game suspension, which he is appealing.
So if he loses, it will be invoked next year,
yes,
correct?
It will not apply to the postseason. Tyler Moore fouls one back. 0-2. Moore came up twice against Matt Harvey, struck out both times. Matt was tremendous tonight. 91 pitches in 6 innings, gave up an unearned run on 4 hits, no walks, 11 strikeouts, and a hit by pitch. So Harvey finishes the regular season with an earned run average of 2.71. Truly spectacular in his first year back from Tommy John surgery,
I'll say.
And you know, the way these things go, you certainly expect him to be even better next year. Good breaking ball by Robles to strike out Moore for the first out.
Big slider right there. Nice angle there.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Dan Uggla, who was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance. Uggla didn't start the game, came in at second base. Wilmer Defoe dove into first base, beating out an infield hit in the third, and then left the game the next half inning. We've not heard a medical report. We can only assume he might have hurt his hand on the slide at first. And Uggla unloads to deep left field. Back goes Conforto onto the warning track, back at the wall, and it's out of here. Dan Uggla makes it 2-0 Washington. Just his second home run of the year in 121 at bats.
Hanging slider. There it is on a platter.
So Uggla, who has played little and struggled mightily over the last couple of years, gets himself a notch in his belt. And that gives Scherzer a little breathing room as he takes outside 1-1. Scherzer 1 for 2 tonight, singled his last time up in the 5th. We saw Robles strike out Moore with a slider and then hang the slider to Uggla, and really that's one of the big stories with Robles, the inconsistency with his secondary pitch.
Well, the one thing I like about Robles is that he's got a rubber arm. He wants to pitch. He's not afraid, and he's going to go out there and he can look like gangbusters one night, and then he can get ripped. He can have a bad night, and but he's fearless, and he's not. He goes out there and he brings it on. He brings it every time he's on the mound. He's just still not a pitcher yet. He's a thrower. He's got a very strong arm.
and a guy who figures to be part of the Mets postseason contingent. Strikes out Scherzer for the second out, but he's now given up 8 home runs in 54 innings this year. It's a lot of home runs.
Well, that's because he's a thrower, and when he makes mistakes, he's supplying a lot of the power.
13 strikeouts from Met pitching in this game. Now Trey Turner, who's accounted for 2 of them, 1 for 3 and a bloop single back in the third. Well, we've been talking ad nauseum about home field in the postseason. If the Mets lose this game, then the Dodgers can clinch that home field with a win tonight behind Zach Greinke.
Or a win tomorrow, right?
Right. If that were to come to pass, and it's looking more and more likely as these innings float by, that would mean games 1 and 2 would be in Los Angeles next Friday and Saturday, and games 3 and 4 would be here a week from Monday and Tuesday. 1-2 to Turner. Interestingly enough, the folks at Elias, with an eye toward this, took a look at some of the postseason history in best-of-5 postseason series. There have been 36 best-of-5 postseason series that have gone the distance to a Game 5. And the road team has won 19 of the 36. So the road team actually has a winning record in Game 5, for what that's worth. Turner takes strike 3 called, 3 strikeouts in the inning for Robles, but Oakland's home run makes it 2-0. It is already the 6th time this year that Scherzer has taken a no-hit bid for at least 5 1/3 innings. He completed one of them against the Pirates, his only career no-hitter. He took a no-hitter to 1 out in the 8th inning against the Reds in his last start. And here he is into the 7th inning with the no-hit bid intact. Tejada, Conforto, and Cuddyer for the Mets in the home 7th to try and break it up as the wind continues to howl, maybe harder than it has all day. Tejada's been up twice, struck out both times against Scherzer, who's fanned 9. And he goes after the first pitch slider, 0-1.
Well, too much cheddar for Tejada with that long swing. He can't catch up.
And Rubin slices one foul, and it's 0-2. Scherzer's been working ahead in the count all day. He's got his pitch count only at 70. So he should have plenty of gas left in the tank on a very cool night to go as far as he needs to. And gets Tejada chasing. Ramos makes the toss. That's 10 strikeouts for Scherzer. 1 out and nobody on. Well, we mentioned the game against the Pirates, June 20th. Perfect through 8 2/3. Then hit Jose Tabata on the elbow. Josh Harrison flied out to Michael Taylor to end it. And Scherzer had his first career no-hitter.
May have a gripe there that batter did not try to get out of the way of that ball. And what's with this Hershey's chocolate syrup? Come on, guys. The Three Stooges food fight. Where's John Belushi? Jeez.
There's Michael Conforto. Was 1 out in the 7th. For Scherzer, it's the 11th time this year he's had 10 or more strikeouts. 36th time in his career. Matt Harvey struck out 11 in 6 innings. Scherzer now with 10 strikeouts. It's been a pitcher's kind of a day all the way around. We saw Syndergaard and Gio Gonzalez pitch brilliantly in the first game today. Conforto goes after the 2-0 fastball. A few times Scherzer's been behind in the count today, and Conforto thinking maybe he could take advantage. Michael Dyer waits on deck. That's about 1 base runner. That was on an error. Kevin Plawecki reached leading off the 6th on Yunel Escobar's error.
Good pitch, slider. Oh, that woman behind home plate to her boyfriend or whoever's next to her. That ball's low. It's a pretty good pitch. Sorry.
Two coming. Conforto fouls it off. By the way, I haven't mentioned this, but a perfect sense of timing tonight in the scheduling of fleece blanket night.
Yes.
At the ballpark tonight.
You notice that couple down there in the front row. Snuggled up together with that fleece on.
They have been put to good use all around the park. And Conforto strikes out on the changeup. 11 strikeouts for Scherzer, and he is really cooking.
That was the best changeup he's thrown all night. You see the circle change? A very good weapon for him against the left-hander. Better than his slider. He can get in trouble because of his sidearm delivery with his breaking ball to left-handers.
Now Kadire with 2 out and nobody on. He's flied out and grounded out. Well, as Scherzer flirts with a no-hitter. He would not be the first to throw one against the Mets at Citi Field this year if he's able to accomplish it. Chris Heston of the Giants threw a no-hitter against the Mets earlier this season. Quite unexpectedly. Rookie who had been in the shadows. Scherzer, on the other hand, one of the elite pitchers in the game. On a perfect night for pitching. Cold, windy, and against a less than full Mets lineup. And he strikes out Kadire on the high fastball. Scherzer strikes out the side of the 7th. 12 punch outs for the night, and he's got a no-hit bid going through 7. 2-0 Nats.
Show your support and spirit by wearing the Mets colors, orange and blue. And follow the Mets on Facebook and Twitter. The most spirited fan will win a David Wright signed jersey.
What's the criteria?
I don't know.
The most spirited fan.
They just put it in front of me in my face and said, read.
Well, you read it very nicely.
Thank you. Well, I botched it a little bit.
Eric Goodell will pitch the top of the 8th for New York. Eric is on the cusp as far as making the postseason roster, so he'll try and turn him a good inning here. Michael Taylor will lead off. Taylor's 0 for 3 tonight. Scored a run after reaching on an error his last time up. Goodell's last outing was Wednesday night in Philadelphia. He retired as only batter. These kids look comfortable. A little popcorn. They don't even need the fleece blanket. Taylor thinking about a bunt, takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Taylor, Escobar, and Robinson for the Nats in the 8th. With Max Scherzer cooling his heels, 6 outs away from a possible no-hitter. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers on the web at MBUSA.com. One-two to Taylor. Struck him out. There's the splitter from Goodell. 1 down in the 8th.
Bottom drops out. You see the ball rotating. So as a hitter, the ball looks like a fastball. And you people who listen to this broadcast, you're well aware of that. But that kind of showed it right there. Ball is rotating.
Now Escobar, who's 0 for 3 in this game, 0 for 6 in the doubleheader, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Escobar had sat out the previous 4 games with back spasms, but playing both ends of the doubleheader today. One of only 3 Nats who started both games today. Matt Harvey went 6, allowed an unearned run on 4 hits and struck out 11. Hansel Robles gave up the home run to Dan Ugglas. He struck out 3. Goodell striking out his first batter. That's 15 strikeouts for Met pitchers in 7 1/3 innings tonight. So far, not enough. Not that close. 2-1. Here's tonight's Verizon trivia question. Who was the last pitcher to go undefeated at home with at least 10 wins? Are we talking Mets pitchers or Major League pitchers? Major League pitchers.
Well, that makes it a little more difficult, doesn't it?
Because Matt Harvey is so far undefeated at home this year. Or at least in his last 10 starts at home. That could change tonight. 2-2 to Escobar. And the splitter misses low. Full count. Clint Robinson waiting on deck. Final day of the regular season tomorrow, and a first-time experiment. Major League Baseball is starting every game tomorrow at the same time. Escobar strikes out. That's 16 strikeouts for Met pitchers. And 2 in a row for Goodell. Tomorrow's game starts at 3 o'clock, as does every game in Major League Baseball tomorrow. Our coverage begins at 2. Jacob deGrom will pitch against Tanner Roark. Probably an abbreviated start for deGrom, because he'll be pitching on regular rest Friday in Game 1 against the Dodgers. Well, it's number 16 who began that K corner at Shea Stadium. Talking about Dwight Gooden. He inspired the hanging of the K's. Not sure any pitcher anywhere else had ever induced the fans to hang K's. And number 16 was that inspiration. And now you see it everywhere. SNY Super Slow Motion brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. 28 strikeouts in this game already. 0-2 to Robinson. And that misses low.
Strikeouts mean no action.
What was it Kevin Costner said in Bull Durham? Ground balls are more democratic. 2-2 to Robinson.
Forgot about that line.
Wilson Ramos would be next. Robinson hits a pop-up, long way to run, and no chance for Johnson to get there. A good day for Robinson. 2 hits, including a home run in the opener. He had a hit-and-run single that led to the first Nationals run in the night game. 2-2 from Goodell. Struck him out. Eric Goodell strikes out the side. That's 17 strikeouts for Met pitching in this game. But Max Scherzer's been even better. He's got a no-hitter through 7. He goes back to the mound when we come back. Games of today's doubleheader. Jets in London for a game tomorrow morning. College football as well. Geico Sports Night after the postgame right here on SNY. But Max Scherzer writing the story so far tonight. A no-hit bid through 7. Kelly Johnson leads off in the 8th and takes a curveball for a strike. Johnson 0 for 2 is grounded out and struck out. One of the 12 strikeouts for Scherzer tonight. 29 strikeouts in this game through 7.5 innings. Quickly, he's ahead on Johnson 0-2. Met pitchers have struck out 17, led by Matt Harvey's 11. Scherzer's career high for strikeouts is 16. He did that this year against Milwaukee. And he has number 13 as he fans Kelly Johnson. He has struck out the last 5 in a row.
Wow. I'm sure Washington fans are saying a day late and a nickel short.
He has had his days this year. Already a no-hitter under his belt. Trying to become the first pitcher to throw 2 regular season no-hitters in the same season since Nolan Ryan did it 42 years ago.
Which would be something else. Quite an accomplishment.
Kirk Neuenhuis has struck out twice. And he fouls one back. 95 from Scherzer. He's topped out at 97 tonight.
He's just overpowered more than a few hitters in this lineup, Met lineup.
Takes the curveball low and in, 1-1. 31-year-old Maxwell M. Scherzer trying to write some more history tonight at Citi Field. Doing nice, pops one foul, and it's 1-2. Scherzer retired the first 15, and Kevin Plawecki reached on Yunel Escobar's error. It's the only thing standing between Scherzer and another perfect game bid. One, two. Over the changeup, 2-2. It's been in an offensive rut this week, and Scherzer's only made that rut deeper. Neuenhuis strikes out on the changeup. 14 strikeouts, including 6 in a row now for Scherzer.
Well, we're going to give you the first 12. Fastball inside, right by him. Cutter over. Fastball right by Neuenhuis. Slider to Plawecki. Up and in fastball. Slider hanging in. Another fastball upstairs. Fastball upstairs. Fastball upstairs. Slider in the dirt. Couldn't tell it was a slider. Their fastball upstairs. That's telling you what's going on tonight. His cheddar upstairs.
Now Plawecki, who takes outside.
Good slider right there. Well, he's in cruise control.
1-1 to Plawecki, and it's taken outside. 4 pitchers in Major League history have thrown 2 no-hitters in the regular season in the same year. Johnny Vandermeer, who did it back-to-back starts. Ali Reynolds with the Yankees in 51. Virgil Trucks with the Tigers in 52. And then Ryan with the Angels in 73. Asterisk for Roy Halladay, who threw 1 in the regular season, a perfect game, and then threw a no-hitter in the division series against Cincinnati. That counts.
Well, Vandermeer, if I recall, the second no-hitter was the first night game ever played.
In Brooklyn.
Right.
Yeah. Two to Plawecki. Struck him out. Scherzer has struck out 7 in a row. He's got 15 for the night, and he's 3 outs away from his second no-hitter of the year. What an incredible performance. We go to the 9th. home with at least 10 wins. Zach Greinke with the Brewers. Many people remembered Zach Greinke was a Brewer. Raise your hands
if you're sure.
Carlos Torres will pitch the top of the 9th for New York.
There's Carlos's numbers.
Wilson Ramos, first pitch swinging, laying out Dilson Herrera, and he throws him out. One pitch, one nice play by Herrera, one away.
Love the glove of Herrera. Good range, laying out here all the way. Beautiful play.
Well, a rare non-strikeout in this game. There have been 49 outs in this game, and 32 of the 49 have come via strikeouts.
No.
17 for Met pitching, 15 for Scherzer. Den Decker's contributed 3 of them. Torres last pitch Wednesday night in Philly, struck out his only batter. The Dodgers are underway against the Padres with Zach Greinke on the mound in LA tonight. Broken bat grounder, that'll stay fair. Goodell takes care of it, 2 out. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th with Max Scherzer looking for his second no-hitter of the season. The Mets will have Herrera, the pitcher spot, and Granderson due up. They have Lucas Duda available on the bench as a left-handed pinch hitter. Tyler Morris struck out 3 times tonight. If the Mets are no-hit for the second time this year, they will not be the first team to be no-hit twice this season. The team they're about to play in the league division series, the Dodgers, were no-hit twice in 9 days by Mike Fiers and Jake Arrieta. One to Moore. Dan Uggla, whose home run contributed the Nationals' second run, is on deck. And now Torres ahead 1-2. Well, a lot of zeros on the left side of the Mets box score presented by Fidelis Care. Look at all the strikeouts. 15 of them in all for Scherzer, just one shy of his career high. One-two. Curveball struck him out. 33 strikeouts in the game tonight, 18 by Mets pitching. Yet they find themselves potentially on the short end of a no-hitter. Max Scherzer will take the mound for the bottom of the 9th inning, and we'll keep it right here. And Scherzer tries to make some history tonight here at Citi Field, trying to become only the 5th pitcher in Major League history to throw 2 regular season no-hitters in the same season. Well, he's trying to do it in his final start of the year.
And there he is, stalking. He's determined.
Those are the no-hitters so far this year in Major League Baseball. Chris Heston had the first one here at Citi Field back in June. Scherzer threw one of his own. Cole Hamels before he got traded. Sashi Iwakuma, Mike Fiers, Jake Arrieta. And now Scherzer trying to put his name on that list again and join those guys. Vandermeer, Reynolds, Trucks, and the most recent Ryan. And again, Roy Halladay, 2010, threw one in the regular season and one in the postseason in the same year.
Only 4 guys in the history of the game over 100 years. It'd be quite a accomplishment.
And he's done it in completely dominating fashion, especially coming down the stretch. He struck out the last 7 batters. And if he could strike out the side in the 9th, he not only would have a no-hitter, but he would tie Tom Seaver's record of 10 consecutive strikeouts, which Seaver also did to finish a game back in April of 1970. Mets have had only 1 base runner tonight. That came in the 6th inning. Kevin Plawecki leading off.
And it's a throwing error. Nice backhand. And Not a good throw, obviously.
There's been only one hard hit ball all night for the Mets. Curtis Granderson lined out to Dan Uggla in the 4th inning. There hasn't been anything in the manner of a spectacular defensive play behind Scherzer. He's done most of it himself. Yoenis Cespedes is going to bat for Dilson Herrera, leading off in the bottom of the 9th. So the Mets will try everything they can to break this thing up. And potentially pull themselves out a win. Cespedes played in the first game of the doubleheader today, went 1 for 3 and a walk. Lucas Duda is on deck to bat for the pitcher. So here we go, last of the 9th. And Cespedes goes after the first pitch fastball.
Well, power against power here.
Duda on deck, Granderson behind him. And Cespedes grounds one foul, and quickly it's 0-2.
Well, if you're a hitter right now, you never want to get no hit. So you're up there bearing down. And it depends. If you've been up 3 times, and you've been overmatched, it's hard not to get defensive. Maybe choke up a little bit. But if you feel like you've had healthy at bats and you just got quality stuff, then it's the great matchup. You know, it's a one-on-one out there. You and the pitcher and the hitter.
And Cespedes just got a piece to stay alive. This is sort of familiar territory for this Nationals team. Last year, on the final day of the regular season, Jordan Zimmerman threw a no-hitter for the Nationals. And here we are, the second to last day of the regular season, and Scherzer trying to do the same. 0-2 to Cespedes. He lays off the slider.
No, 0-2 count, 1 to waste. I'm sure he's going to come up and in now, upstairs with a cheddar.
Remarkably, with 15 strikeouts, Scherzer's still under 100 pitches. 1-2.
Another slider. Interesting. Still only 2-2.
Well, the crowd is really into this. On both sides of the ledger, everybody's standing.
On their feet.
Two coming. Struck him out. Scherzer matches his career high with his 16th strikeout and his 8th in a row.
And just finally went upstairs with the fastball. Got Cespedes. And look at him get fired up. His reaction. This is his last inning of the year right here, and he's going to let it all out.
Now Lucas Duda. Lucas went 0 for 3 and a walk in the first game today. 0-1.
We've had the Mets pitchers on breaking balls get hurt. And I just don't think he's going to mess around. He's got the fastball. We showed you the first 12 strikeouts last half inning. All that fastball right there upstairs. No one has been able to catch up to it.
Quickly ahead on Duda, 0-2 with Granderson on deck. And he throws the curveball and bounces it, 1-2.
And Wise, 0-2, a pitch to waste, not throwing it for a strike. Seeing if he can get an easy fish and an easy out.
One-two. Struck him out. 9 in a row for Scherzer. 17 strikeouts for the night. And 1 out away from a no-hitter.
An extraordinary performance right here. He is fired up.
This is one of the greatest pitching performances in Major League history. A chance to throw a no-hitter, tie the record for consecutive strikeouts. He has a career-high 17 strikeouts tonight, and he's got one more obstacle in Curtis Granderson. And the fastball punches the inside corner.
Well, he's throwing hard now, Gary. He's after it.
His last start of the year and trying to finish in magnificent fashion. Ball and a strike to Granderson, who has the only hard hit ball tonight. He lined out to Ugla back in the 4th inning.
And if he completes this no-hitter and gets Granderson, Granderson will be the only guy to get up 4 times.
And Curtis fouls it back, and now Scherzer's 1 strike away. He's making like Gio Gonzalez and talking to himself.
He smells it. He wants it. Look at the competitive fires in him.
1-2 to Curtis Granderson. And he misses down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scherzer on the verge of a game for the ages. Popped it up. Escobar is there. And Max Scherzer has thrown his 2nd no-hitter of the season, striking out 17. Max Scherzer puts his name in the record books alongside only 4 others who've thrown 2 no-hitters in a season as he completely dominates the Mets in a 2-0 Washington win.
And a big crimp in the Mets home field attempt for home field advantage in the playoffs. Gary, I played behind Dwight Gooden on extraordinary performances, but I have not seen a dominant one like this. I don't think Doc has had one quite like this. The way Scherzer finished.
He struck out 9 in a row before getting a broken bat pop-up from Granderson to end it. The 9 strikeouts in a row, just 1 shy of Tom Seaver's major league record. Max Scherzer, the first pitcher since Nolan Ryan in 1973 to throw 2 regular season no-hitters in the same season. An absolutely, utterly dominant performance by a pitcher in his prime. A game that featured 35 strikeouts. Met pitchers, led by Matt Harvey, struck out 18. But Scherzer, with a complete game, a no-hitter, 17 strikeouts, no walks, only 1 base runner. That came on an error in the 6th inning as the Nationals get the kind of pitching they expected. Maybe a shade too late, but not too late for the record books for Max Scherzer.
Well, ends his probably a disappointing season for him, but a little bit of redemption right here. 14-12 on the year. The big contract. Boy, Gary, just a dominating performance. And as you said, 1 play from a perfect game. It happened to him twice this season on both his no-hitters.
Johnny Vandermeer, Allie Reynolds, Virgil Trucks, Nolan Ryan, and now Max Scherzer as he gets Granderson on the broken bat pop-up to end it. 2 no-hitters in 1 season.
That is great. That says it all right there.
And Escobar, who made the error that allowed the Mets to have their only base runner, able to squeeze it for the final out. And a season that has had so much disappointment for the Washington Nationals on the 2nd to last day of the season gives them something to celebrate.
Yes, sir.
Well, we have borne witness to some great pitching over the seasons and this season as well. The Mets are no hit for the 2nd time this year, but that may be the most dominating pitching performance I've ever seen.
Well, the way he finished, what do you have? 10 strikeouts in a row, or was it 9?
9 in a row.
9 out of the last 10. Now that puts a stamp on a no-hitter right there. That's finishing strong. And that's something I have never seen. And as I said in the 9th inning, I played behind Dwight Gooden with a lot of double strikeout performances from Dwight, but I have not seen something like this.
Only one hard hit ball all night. That was in the 4th inning. Curtis Granderson into the line drive to the second baseman that was caught. No spectacular defensive plays behind him. This was Scherzer doing it all himself.
Yes, and did he end up with under 100 pitches?
He went over 100.
Went over 100, but when you have that many strikeouts, no walks, and getting ahead of hitters, and we showed a montage of the first 12 strikeouts, and there was around 8 of them or 9 of them fastballs upstairs. So we had it all working, and in the end, you can just see he just took the bit and ran with it.
A history-making performance by Max Scherzer on the Citi Field mound tonight. He throws his second no-hitter of the season, and we will talk to him shortly. Scherzer no hits the Mets. More coming up from Citi Field.